Hey guys, this is Ed, Paul, and Anna of Curb Media, and we are here to tell you a little bit more about our sponsor.
Sportsball is a great subscription service geared towards minor league baseball fans. Each box features a different minor league team.
You get a box every 3 months with minor league baseball gear, including different styles of hats like Ed's favorite, the dad hat. The cost is less than $12 a month.
Proceeds from each box goes to More Than Baseball, the only nonprofit dedicated to the well-being of minor league baseball players.
We all know that Parents' Days are coming up this summer, so if you've got a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa who are particularly difficult to buy for, but you know they're baseball fans, this is the answer, guys.
Meet your new favorite team at sportsballbox.com.
Is there anybody there?
What's up, Deadhead crew? And on this episode, I got to sit down with Patrick Larson. He is a good Georgia boy who fell in love with a team north of the border. That's right, the Toronto Blue Jays. And then he also gives some life advice on what to do when you are ordering a hat, specifically 5950s, from a minor league team. So, without further ado, guys, I'll give you the episode. All right. Well, I want to welcome you guys to yet another episode of the Dadhead Chronicles. Obviously, my name is Ed, and with me today we have Patrick. My man, how are you doing?
Ed, I'm doing well, my man. Thank you so much for letting me come on your podcast. I've listened to a couple episodes already. Love what you do, and just excited to have a chat with you today.
That's all we are here for, my friend. This is all we're doing, just having a little fun, just talking some baseball, sports, and obviously collections, right?
Absolutely.
So as you know, a lot of people know that, the first thing they'll ask is, what got you started, but not a lot of people really, I don't know. I guess the way to say is like what makes us a fan, right? Like, I mean, it's
Right.
just one of those things is, all of a sudden one day we decided to, I'm going to be a fan. Yeah. I like sports, it's just something that we gravitated towards too. Right. So what was that one thing for you?
Ed, honestly, it kind of started with my dad.
Mhm.
My dad didn't watch a whole lot of sports, but
Yeah.
he always watched baseball. And the reason
Good
he would
man.
always
Good
watch
man.
baseball is because there was no clock. Anything can happen, at any time. And
Yep.
there's not a clock that's going to stop you until you play those 9 innings or until you finish extra innings. Anything can happen. And
That's right.
And so growing up in Georgia, we had the TBS Superstation. So we always had the Atlanta Braves on. The ironic thing is I'm not an Atlanta Braves fan, but
Wait a second. You're from
Yeah.
Georgia and
Yeah.
you're not a Braves fan.
I'm not. I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan, actually.
Oh, you went out of the country, went to across the border, and you became a Blue Jays fan.
I did. But I have a soft spot for the Braves only because of watching them growing up with my dad. And so like in 1991, when they went from the worst to first, when they were in the NL West,
Mhm.
and Bobby Cox and the Fab Five, and
I remember that.
and
Yes.
and also that everyone could always watch them, right? And so just the Braves going for what was it, like 14 straight division titles, I believe.
Mhm.
And so so it was really my dad that kind of gave me that foundation, because it was the concept of having no clock. And it was just every night I would always know at like 7:05 or 7:35 Eastern Standard Time, there would always be a baseball game on. And it was always my dad. I mean, we were not a football family growing up, though I love football. We were not like soccer, even though I played it. It was not, as far as TV watching, it was baseball.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I didn't grow up a football fan, as a kid, right? Obviously I moved here to the US when I was 12, right? So it was baseball all the time or volleyball, and this is where I grew up here in Cleveland, becoming a fan of football and baseball. But you're right. I love the concept that you say is there's no clock, even though Major League has tried a number of times to implement a clock. Right?
They have.
And has not worked out so far. They try to, do all these other things to make it quicker, and nothing has. It's just, you're right. There is no clock, and that's what's great about the sport.
It is. I mean, I just love that concept, like I said earlier, of literally anything can happen, and it's never over until it's officially over. And whether that's a pitching duel that you have that goes extra innings, whether that's a slugfest where one team scores in the top of the inning, but the home team responds in the bottom half, and managerial tactics of, am I going to do a double switch, or, do I have a situational left-hander that I bring in to do the lefty v lefty or righty v righty?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
You're right.
just all those little tiny duels. And, I kind of feel sad that the generations growing up don't have the same love for it that I do. And
you're right.
I don't know. Because it still is America's pastime to me. It always will be. And that's no offense to the NFL or the NHL or the NBA. I like them for different reasons, but I just have that memory of baseball that always, is always going to take me back to my childhood and watching with my dad. And it's just that nostalgia, I think, for me. And we'd go to the games. We were not poor growing up, but we, 3 kids, we didn't have like a lot of extra money. So we'd go to the $5 seats in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium when they were terrible. And we'd sit in the nosebleeds.
Which is still a great seat, no matter what, at a baseball game.
It is. And I would see the little ants down there, and I'm like, oh, those are the players. It was great because you still got to see the skyline in Atlanta. You got to see, the whole stadium and the grandeur of a stadium. And I still have really great memories of that. And I have my mom and dad to thank for that, because even though we didn't have like a lot of money, they still were generous enough to give me that experience.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you know what? I want to go back to something you said is, like the how each manager manages the team and how they play. It's a chess game.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. A lot of people say, oh, it's a boring game. Like, you really are not watching it. You really got to sit there and really watch it, because there's so many moves that they're making, shifting the right field or the whole outfield, or, the infield shifting rule, and all of that is just, there's so many things that are going on, just that's just not just pitching to the catcher, and then the batter try to hit the ball, right? That's the end of at the end of the day, that's the simplest way of saying it, right? You pitch the ball, you hit the ball, right? But it's more than that. And you're right. I really do hope that kids growing up really do pay attention to that, because the game is great. I love it.
It's wonderful, especially, and I know you share this too, Ed, the minor leagues.
Yep.
Like that's something with the major leagues that sort of soured me a little bit and it's always been the concept of the money, but really right now the commissioner and the way that things have turned out. But what I love about the concept of minor league baseball is, I think you've said this even in several of your other podcast episodes, is that there's a misnomer that these guys make a lot of money. They don't.
No.
I mean, these guys are sleeping 2 to a room. They're taking cheap buses, from place to place, and they're still playing for the love of the game to achieve that dream of being a major leaguer, to earn that big contract. And then taking it away from the players, the concept is that it's affordable family entertainment for communities. There's a lot of these cities and towns that, are miles away from a major league ball club, but this gives them an opportunity. And and it broke my heart when we went from 160 teams that were affiliated down to 120.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you're threatening to take away baseball and affordable family entertainment from families, something fun to do, because it may be the only game in town. It may.
You're right.
And
you're right.
And you're taking away that experience from people. And, Commissioner Manfred, I don't like how that has all been handled personally. I won't speak for anybody else, but just I'm proud of these teams and communities that have come together to find other viable alternatives to keep these teams in the communities. But they were really given no no advance. Some of these people were finding out, you hear stuff about the team formerly known as the Staten Island Yankees, the Trenton Thunder, these teams that learned about it in press releases. They weren't even
notified,
given advance notice. And
yeah,
so,
and that's the issue that I have with how everything went down, is that the way that it was done, right? There because there's some teams like the Fire Frogs, Florida Fire Frogs, just went down. They're not around anymore.
and they went from like Osceola County, Florida to Jupiter. I mean, they bounced around Florida,
Now they're gone.
Yeah,
This
now they're
one
gone.
of the teams that they were it was on the list, off they went.
Yep.
Like, I mean, there's some teams, for example, who with the Mahoney Valley Scrappers, right? So they got that prospect league now, right? Which is, I'm glad that they're still able to keep something there. The Appy League, the Pioneer League, they were like, you know what? We're going to do our thing. It's a collegiate wood bat league, right? With the Appy League, they teamed up with Team USA, and so they're doing a lot of things. But at the same time, like you said, the Staten Island Yankees, Trenton Thunder, they deserve better than what they got. Some of the teams got smart. Lexington Legends, right? They got smart and they knew the writing on the wall, and then they're like, all right, well, let's go do something. Let's plan ahead, because something's coming and we're on the list. No matter, they can keep telling us that we're not, but we're going to believe that we are, and then we're going to plan ahead.
Exactly.
So let me ask you, because you're not a Braves fan, you're a Blue Jays fan. How on God's green earth a boy from Georgia become a Blue Jays fan?
I promise there's a story. So when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I was probably 10 or 11. My favorite baseball player was someone that, it wasn't Ken Griffey Jr. It wasn't Barry Bonds. It was Jose Cruz Jr.
Really?
So, and this is a guy that had like a lifetime. He was always around like a 241 lifetime batting average. So it wasn't like anything spectacular, but he was a prospect with the Seattle Mariners. He went to Rice University, and he got traded to the Blue Jays. Well, I took a liking to him when he first came up with the Mariners, and then he got traded at the I'll never forget. I think it was 97. He got traded at the July deadline for Paul Spojarek, who was a left-handed reliever, and Paul Quantrill, who was a right-handed reliever. So, and he had a fan club web page in the early days of the internet, right?
No way.
Yeah, so he had a fan club. So and they said that you could email him questions. And I thought that was so cool. So I submitted a question asking him, what was it like playing baseball in Toronto? And one day I get this, a couple months later, I get this random email on my old Hotmail account, which is ironically named after, like the tag is after the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
And I get this AOL address that comes through. And I'm thinking maybe it's like the early edition of spam or something else, but I open it. And it's an answer to my question. It's only like a one-line thing, but it said basically playing in Toronto is really awesome. It's a nice city with nice people. And then it said, blessings, Jose. And that may not be a big thing to everyone else, but to a kid that just submits a question that,
that means the whole world
to a player, and you felt, and maybe it was a rep that he had that did it, but it didn't matter to me at that age, right? Mm-hmm. It meant a lot to me that someone, or he had staff or himself, that took the time to answer a simple question from a fan of his. And then from there, I'm pretty hard-headed by nature. So he got a fan for life in that way. So even after he was traded away from the Blue Jays, he was on the Blue Jays at that time. So I always had that connection with the Blue Jays for that reason. And so after he got traded away and played for, the Giants, the Rays, and, a handful of other teams, I still stuck with the Blue Jays. And
good for you.
And then from there, so I don't really have a geographic connection, but I have been to Toronto. I have been to Rogers Center. So I've gotten to see a game there. So which is awesome. And I just said, this is the team that I chose, and I am not deviating from it. I'm gonna
awesome.
stay a Blue Jays fan. And I follow them every year. I follow the prospects. And so it's kind of just become a love in and of itself just from that solitary moment.
You know what? That's awesome, dude. Because it's you have that connection, and you're right. As a kid, you get a answer back from a baseball player in the majors,
Mhm.
where it does not matter at that point. You don't know if it's a staff member answering it. You don't know if it's the manager of the fan club. Whatever. It does not matter.
Yep.
What matters is that you got an answer, and you became an even bigger fan, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and I collected his cards. I was a baseball card collector growing up, so I would just try to collect all his cards. And I don't have my baseball card collection. I gave it to a friend of mine's son to
Mhm.
kind of let him collect cards, but I still kept all my Jose Cruz Jr. cards.
That's
So
great.
I still have those, and so they're in a small little box somewhere in here, and so I'd still keep those because it meant a lot to me that, like I said, he would have either himself or a staff member. I like to think it was him,
Yeah.
but because it said peace and blessings, Jose. And so it
Fun.
was very informal, and it kind of felt like you were talking to your friend. And in the early days of the internet, I didn't get many emails as a kid. So it was really meant a lot to me that I would get something like that. So
That's cool. That's very cool. That's a cool story. Yeah, because if it was me and I sent that email or I sent the question and I'll print it out, I laminate it, and I'll be over the moon about it. It's like, you know what, guys, this is the time where I got an answer, and yeah, I would have done the same thing.
I believe I still have that email somewhere. I honestly don't think I ever deleted it.
That's great. That's
So,
awesome.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
don't do
like,
that.
so I'm like 35 now, but like it was like 10 or 11, like when I got it. So I've had that Hotmail address for this long, and I think I still have it. And I still know that I can find it if I search for it.
That's
So,
great. That's great.
and it's something I'll never delete because as long as I keep that account, I'm going to have it. So,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
So tell me, you love the miners like many of us do.
Oh man, obsessed with them.
How that obsession came about?
Well, I've always I've always loved minor league baseball.
Yeah,
So I'll kind of start. Well, as a kid, there were two teams growing up that were right around me that I could go and see play. One was the Macon Braves, which was about a 45-minute drive from where we lived and where my parents still live, and the Columbus Red Sticks, which were about a 55-minute drive. So it was the South Atlantic League. So we could always and obviously the Red Sticks were an Indians affiliate.
that's right.
So we would always go and see the Columbus Red Sticks play and the Macon Braves play. And this was the days, I mean, like Golden Park in Columbus, it would be nowhere near the facility requirements that Major League Baseball asks for now. So you were lucky to have a seat. But the great thing was, I remember down the right field line, there would be like this big grassy patch where players would always go and hit foul balls. They'd have a late swing and they'd take it down the line and it would be
That's
foul.
awesome.
It would go over the fence. So I remember one game I went, I'm probably got 4 South Atlantic League baseballs because I learned
That's
like
great.
that no one else was going down there to pick up the ball. So I'm like, I'll go down there.
Go.
So that was kind of my first exposure to minor league baseball,
Yeah.
the Red Sticks and the Macon Braves. And then, of course, as they do, I believe the Red Sticks actually ended up becoming the Lake County Captains, if
That's
I'm not
right.
mistaken.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
So we lost the Red Sticks, but then we got the Catfish for a year. And then there was the South Georgia Waves and
Oh wow, yeah.
and so and Macon never got a team after the Braves, and they believe that was the team. I'm trying to remember if that was the one that moved to Danville. I can't remember, but either way, we had the Braves and the Red Sticks, and then several years went by where I would look at the minor leagues, but didn't really pay attention. But
Right.
honestly, it was a couple years ago when I started seeing the logos of
Oh yeah.
oh man, I'm obsessed with like just out there logos. So I would see your Akron Rubber Ducks.
Oh, love that logo. So cool.
It's amazing. The Amarillo Sod Poodles, Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Yes, that's a great hat, by the way.
The-
You're wearing that
Oh,
the panda, the blue, that baby blue color on that hat
Oh.
is so awesome.
I'm obsessed with it. But so then I started going through, oh, well, there's so many cool concepts. And then I came across, Brandiose, who does so many of the logos that we love. I'm obsessed with Brandiose logos. Studio Simon does great ones. I think they did they did the Savannah Bananas. And so in the collegiate, in the Coastal Plain League. And so I've always loved logos anyway. So whenever a team changes logos, I've always loved branding and logos and what makes something tick. So when I work in my day-to-day job, I work in economic development.
Mhm.
So I started looking at minor league baseball about the logos and the branding, making it part of a community and connecting those brands to the community. And that's what I love about Brandiose. And what Dan Simon and Studio Simon does is they try to find something that connects it to the local community. Yeah. And so I'm not like the classic baseball purist who loves it to be every team in the minor league is named the Braves or the Yankees or the Cubs. I like these out there logos that kind of make you, there's a lot of people that are against it, but what people don't understand and what Brandiose understands and what Studio Simon understands is that it gets people talking, positive or negative. It gets press out there. So any news is publicity.
That's right.
And these people end up talking about it, and it drives merchandise sales, and it helps these brands look at Rocket City. People didn't like that one to begin with.
I loved it right from the get-go.
So did
I thought it was great.
And Rocky Mountain Vibes, people are like, what are you doing with a s'more? But with Toasty. But these are the things that get people talking. And if you want to get kids to like baseball, give them a cool logo to wear, because that's going to get kids to want to take their parents to take them to games. And so when I got into so I kind of embraced that. And then also a couple of years ago, my local team, the Gwinnett Stripers, we're going to rebrand from the Gwinnett Braves. And they had all these different choices, like the Gwinnett Sweet Teas, the Gwinnett Buttons, and all these other things. And so then they had all these choices for the fans to choose from. And it turns out the final thing wasn't even an original choice.
Really?
The Stripers weren't even an original choice. It's just what they named it. But Brandiose did the logo, and I mean, just the logo set was just phenomenal. And so I got obsessed with going. So, and then when I saw that there were hats, because I've always loved the 5950 New Era hats, I started this obsession of I've got to have every minor league team. And I went on a quest of a buying spree. Yeah. And I can tell you, I have at least one hat from all 160 minor league baseball teams.
Oh my God.
And in most cases, I have like 3 or 4 of each.
Yeah, because they have different identities. Yes. They have different, the road, the batting
Well, they have the road, the alternate, and then I'm usually buying the theme night hats because they're always, different. And so I'm ashamed to say, like, I know some of the merchandise managers, or they know who I am just because I'm always ordering. But, but what can I say? It's been good to meet other people that like it as much as I do. And I look at it this way. I look at it that you're supporting a small team in a local market when you're buying directly from them, and you're supporting affordable family entertainment in a small way for families and hopefully future generations, where it may be a small purchase, but for them, hopefully it can go toward improving facilities so they can improve experiences for players, and they can keep those teams, and then we don't go from 120 to 90.
That's correct.
And so I like the whole concept. That's, I guess in a way you could say that's how I justify it, but it's also
I'm justifying it just, and listen, I'm supporting local business. That's my thing. I and I've said this many times already. During pandemic, that was my way of supporting local businesses. Could I have done something different locally? Yeah. But you know what? I love baseball, and I want baseball to be around for a long time. So if I have to buy a hat, then so be it. I
did the exact same thing. So from the onset of the pandemic, I was probably on those sites every day, a couple of times a day, just trying to see who's doing what. So like during the Copa de la Diversión, like I was emailing teams to say, are you going to be releasing your identity? Like, because I have no patience. And I'm just over there and I'm like, I want to support you. Do you think you're going to have it up? And they're probably like, just like, wait a couple days.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to go through things. We have obviously bigger things than just updating our merchandise, but I feel like I connected with the teams in that way. And I felt like I always consider this pandemic that we're all in this together, because I think we really are. And that was a kind of way for me to send a message with my wallet to say, this is we are in this together, and I want to support baseball in Davenport, Iowa. I want to support it in Gwinnett County, Georgia. I want to support it, in Lake County, Ohio. And
that's admirable, my friend, because not a lot of people are going to do that, right? You know, they're going to be like,
I mean, behind these identities that we love, and this, these great branding and marketing opportunities, there's people that work at the stadiums. There's people that went an entire year.
Now we're getting to the point, right? That's the whole
exactly.
thing.
And that's really the point of this, right? Is that there are people who couldn't work for an entire season, and these minor league teams lost their main source of revenue for an entire season. It's what gets them through the entire calendar year, their entire fiscal year, is those gate receipts, the concessions, the merchandise. They didn't have any of that. And so now, and Major League Baseball is asking them to make all these investments to upgrade their
millions of dollars.
And not everyone has a Quint Studer, at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, or, not everyone could do what, as much as I admired it, what the Portland Sea Dogs did, what Pensacola did, where they paid their people throughout the pandemic. That, I thought that was incredible. And the Quint Studer and the ownership of the Portland Sea Dogs and every team that did that, kudos. But unfortunately, there were some owners that couldn't afford to do that.
They couldn't do it.
And
they just couldn't
people
afford it.
have families at home. They have kids. What are they going to do? Right. So in a way, that was my way of saying, well, I was lucky enough to work during the pandemic. Very few people were able to say that. And it was my way of kind of supporting these teams. Hopefully they could do something to support their communities and the people that work for them. And that's really what it's about. And it comes down to people. And you don't get any closer to people and really the essence of the game and family and community more than minor league baseball.
What? You're absolutely right, my friend, because let's be honest, a lot of the times, that's their only source of income, and they don't get paid that much either, right? These employees wear many hats. So I give them a lot of credit for doing what they're doing. And when they cancel the whole season for the minor leagues, if it was hard on me, right, as a fan, I couldn't put into words how hard it was on them to know that the only source of income, and a lot of kids were the students as well, right? Those internships, that year laws of internship that they could have had, a lot of experience just went out the window.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just minor league baseball. I mean, we're talking, collegiate summer league baseball,
correct,
independent professional teams. And they, at these different levels, they do the same thing. And, there are teams that lost out on farewell seasons of, they didn't even get to say goodbye to their fans in some cases. At least, they didn't get to have a minor league farewell season.
Nope.
Some teams like Rocket City didn't get to have their debut season. It was kind of like unofficially this was their first year, but they were, the communities were so excited. And then
they sold so much merch. Rocket City Pandas
breaking records.
Oh my God. They didn't even play a game, and they were selling out of merchandise. It took me a long time for me to get my own hat, for God's sakes, You
and me both. And then once I saw them, I got to the point where even when I saw it on like Fanatics, I had to grab it because I couldn't get it from the, direct from the team.
Yeah.
Now I did get some directly from the team as well, but I when I saw a couple of them, I was like, oh, I just had to grab this before it goes away. I feel guilty about that because I know that doesn't go directly to the teams in the way it should, but
because only a small percentage, if that, goes towards the,
exactly.
It was the same thing with me when I saw the dad hat for the red one with the rocket on it, right?
It's a beautiful one.
I love it. So, but I saw it on the 47 brand website. So I was like, I can't, I have to get it because I've been wanting it for so long, right? Because it's so unique.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So-
I mean, you're not going to find that option in a 5950. I mean, that's only in the dad hat that you're going to get something like that. So
right,
it's,
exactly.
so yeah, I mean, I think yours is a little bit more excusable than mine. to be fair, I think mine was just a lack of patience. And
I gotta give you
waiting.
credit though, because 5950s are not cheap, brother.
No, they're
They
not.
are not cheap. And if you're, and I'm sure this is what you do too, right? You go to the website like me, and then you order it, and then I'm sure you buy something else. Then you got to tack on the shipping on top of that, and you're spending a good amount of money.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I try to find ways to get free shipping, but of course, when you're buying directly from the teams,
There's no free
you can't do
shipping.
that. Yeah,
No.
no. There's no way to get away from paying $8 plus for shipping.
And even if
And-
you use the welcome 10 on the affiliated teams,
Oh, I
listen, a little
exhausted.
something. Yeah.
I exhausted that code.
Yeah.
I
have too.
exhausted that code. And then this season when they didn't allow me to when it was saying you can't use it on this item, I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I got to
Come
pay.
on, dude.
I'm like, now not only did the price go up, but now I've got to use the $8 in shipping. But I tell myself this is helping a local team.
Right.
And it's my small way of trying to help. And so, yes, does it mean I probably have too many hats? You could argue. I mean, depending on how you look at it, but I still love them. I'm not going to lie to you. I've got them. I just have. I still remember the ones, and I can tell you like when I got them, or I don't have the classic story of like an Eric the Peanut guy where I said I went to this park and got it, or I'm only getting it for when I go to the park. I was just like, oh, that's a great new logo, and especially with how things go now, I just have to get it, and I'm like, yeah.
So walk me through your process, right? Because like my process that I do now, right? That I've said it before, I got it from Brad, is that Brad Nova on Twitter, follow him, guys.
Yep.
That I use the wheel now, right? So every Friday I let fate decide which hat I'm gonna go. Don't get me wrong. I go on the websites. I make sure that there's a dad hat available, because I don't want an egg on my face. I want to say, oh my God, this is the team that I'm getting this week. Come to find out that I don't have a dad hat, right? So I do my due diligence. What's your process?
I wish I could say that mine was like as intentional and as exciting as yours. Mine usually consists of going to MILB promos on Twitter and seeing who's released something new, and
That's great.
and grabbing it, because now it's kind of like dog eat dog out there. I mean, if you're
for sure.
like there's websites out there like Hat Club. If you don't buy it within the first 2 minutes, it's gone.
Yep.
And now I'm not into the whole side patch, having to have that latest side patch, different colorway craze that a lot of people are into, that you're going to see a lot of the community that needs to have that colored underbill or the side patch. They're cool, and I have a couple of them, but I'm more about the new logo. Can I get a hat that has a different logo on it that I don't have? And
so you're a fan of November coming up.
Oh,
I bet you can't wait for November, huh?
I've already made a list.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see, because Beloit's going to be getting a new identity.
And for you guys that don't know, November is the time where a lot of the minor leagues release their new identities. That's
Logovember.
Logovember, and it's a great time because
it is.
Oh man,
and my birthday's in November, so that's even better.
Oh, so there you go.
So yeah, and I've already learned like a week from today, the West Virginia Power are gonna be releasing their new identity.
I saw your tweet. I saw that. Yes, sir.
And Augusta Green Jackets have already shown their hats for 2022.
Yeah.
And but the like I said, the Beloit Snappers are getting their long-awaited new identity. The Midland Rockhounds are going to be releasing something in November about a new, I don't know if it's a new identity, but a refresh.
I think that's a revamp of their logo and things like that. Staten Island.
I get the sense it's going to be, I don't know, but I get the sense it's still going to be the Rockhounds, but maybe an updated logo, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So I think they're going to keep the name. I just think they're going to do a new, fresher 2022 version of it. Yeah, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I do like their logo now, but I can see mean, it's been around a long time, so I can see where someone maybe wants to freshen it up a bit. And yeah, so I've already, like I said, I've already started like making a list of like stuff to check out. And so,
yeah, because I mean, you got to put the Staten Island, team, because they're also going to be, putting out a new logo, a new team name, and everything, which is
it will
great.
be.
So new team coming there. I've talked to George Falkowski, right, and he tells us like, it's great that they're bringing a team there. It's just going to be interesting how they're going to be able to handle the whole traffic and how to get to the place, because I from what I understand, it's a very difficult ballpark to get to.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes.
I've heard the same thing, and I was really kind of secretly hoping they were going to go with the Staten Island Pizza Rats.
So was I. My God, so was I.
I was hoping that was just going to be the main identity, and and then George would already be set, right? Because he's already got he's already got the jersey he wears around.
I got the hat. I got the dad hat. I couldn't. Listen. I did not waste them, because we always talk about this. It's like, listen, if you have the opportunity to get the hat, get it now, because it could go away and never be able to find it. Like the manatees.
I missed the first round of the Pizza Rats, and I had to wait for them to restock. And then the second I was on the phone with them, the second that they restocked, I was on that website, and I ordered both the. I ordered both versions of the hat that the team wore.
Yep.
And then Hat Club actually released one of their alternate logos where the rat is holding the pizza on its shoulder.
Oh, that's such a cool one. Yeah.
And so I managed to grab one of those as well. And so but yeah, it's just such a cool identity, but it's just a good example again of what we've been talking about is just, the way that whole logo came about. It's the fun is the stories behind it. And that's what I connect to is now when I look at those logos, I can learn about, like, I would have never known what a sod poodle was in Amarillo before learning about the logo.
Yep.
And,
Rocket City Trash Pandas, the whole reasoning behind all of that, right?
Yep. And the Carolina and leaving minor league baseball again, the Carolina Disco Turkeys.
Oh man, I love that. So hilarious.
Oh man. So I mean, you'll have to stop me at some point, because I'll just keep going on and on with the different teams, making bacon, Savannah bananas. I mean, it's just, because so when I got all the minor league teams, I went from there to the collegiate summer league teams.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm talking the Coastal Plain League, Expedition League, Northwoods League.
My favorite league right now, my favorite collegiate wood bat league. Yeah. That one, and now obviously the Appy League, but yeah, those two leagues.
The
are
Appy
awesome.
League. I went full bore into the Appy League as well. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just been, the Appy League to me has been probably one of the most exciting ones recently, because there's some great identities in there. The Danville Otterbots, the Burlington Sock Puppets.
My favorite team of the whole league is the Sock Puppets. I absolutely love that name.
Don't tell the ambassadors of the Danville Otterbots.
I know I've had a couple conversations already with them, and I have to tell them, like, listen, I love you guys. I love the team. It's my second team in the Appy League, but my heart will be with my Sock Puppets.
You've got another one on your team, because everyone thinks that I'm an ambassador, but I was never officially made a Danville Otterbots ambassador.
Right.
I don't know who it is in Georgia, but I mean,
I have no idea who it is in Ohio either. So
yeah, well, I even asked the team, and I think who was it? It may have been Johnny called me the ambassador for the Otterbots in Georgia. I'm honored, but I don't think it's really me. I don't want to disrespect whoever it really is.
Right.
But I mean, because I even asked about it. I followed the team when they were Danville Professional Baseball, but I never got on the board I never found out about the ambassadors thing.
Yeah, I found out
I was
too
not
late.
on that Zoom call or anything else. But so I have a hat from every Appy League team as well. So
nice.
And that was, so I reached out to the teams. The only one I don't have the official one for is Bristol. The State Liners.
I was just going to say,
I got a trucker hat from them, but they had some, I don't know the whole issue, but there was for whatever reason or another, they didn't sell their on-field hats to fans. They were the only team. Yeah. It was I think it was a licensing type thing. I don't know, but I mean, I was on the phone with the general manager trying to figure out where they got to do it, and went back and forth, and finally I got a couple trucker hats from them just to kind of give them some kind of support.
Yeah.
So, and they're nice, but they're, I'm an on-field.
Yeah. I was just going to say, that's your thing. You're the 5950s, just like I'm the dad, had collectors, right? And that's the beauty about collecting, that we are all collectors of many things, right?
Yep.
Paul Caputo has the, the baseball ice cream, helmets, which is amazing. I love them. I got a handful of those, right? You
Yep.
have those hats, and a lot of people got, snapbacks.
Yep.
There's a whole group of people that collect snapbacks, jerseys, flags, pennants. There's so many things that you can collect, and I love hearing the stories about that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because you're like me, you want to find out the stories behind, why they got the logos and all that. So you have been able to, the whole, let's talk about what you have, the hat now that you're wearing, the Trash Pandas, have you been able to find out exactly why they are named the Trash Pandas and all that?
Well, I don't know the part. I don't know the Trash Pandas part, but I do know about like the whole Rocket City thing,
Right.
because obviously down in Huntsville, Alabama is the NASA headquarters. Sorry, not NASA headquarters. NASA has a presence, in Huntsville, Alabama, and Madison is just outside of that.
Correct.
Madison's kind of an area where a lot of the NASA employees and their families live. And so I'm guessing the Trash Pandas part maybe there's a significant raccoon population.
No, I think it was because they're the ingenuity of the raccoons, because of their, that's why they create all the rockets and all that. They test them and things like that. So, and Trash Pandas are very, they're very prone to, the ingenuity. So that's why. I could be wrong, right? But I think that was the whole reasoning behind naming the Trash Pandas.
That makes perfect sense to me, but I knew the Rocket City part was, and so the concept of taking the Trash Panda, putting him in a trash can and putting up, and putting
make it into a rocket
was just phenomenal to me.
It's genius.
And it's not just the hats. It's in the concessions where you build in the branding. It's in things to do for the kids at the stadium. So I didn't get to make it this year, but I've got it on my list to go to Toyota Park, to go over to Madison, because it's only about 4 hours away from where I live.
Oh,
so
there you go.
I've got to make a trip over there. And I hate that circumstances didn't allow me to do it this season, but I'm already kind of thinking about next year.
It's funny you say that, because I was just talking, me and my wife, we go for a walk on the afternoons and all that after dinner. And we're like, honey, next year, I know this year we weren't able to do anything, but next year I got to make a trip somehow. We're going to, hit a couple of teams, so that way I'm able to, go out there and support these minor leagues, because that's what I want to do.
Absolutely.
I've not decided where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. I think I have all winter to really figure that out. Right. I'm going to wait after November until the new brandings come out. So that way, I figure that out as well.
I think and who knows, there may be a couple surprises too. You may get a Fort Myers Mighty Muscles or the Winston-Salem Dash, who just pop it up on you all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
I like the Mighty Muscles, but I was such a fan of the Miracle, the name
So
Miracle.
I wish I could find a vintage. I wish I could find the vintage M,
with the palm tree.
The palm tree, yes.
Yes.
And I have the most recent one they had before they rebranded, but I want to find like that kind of the one from like the early the 90s, that 90s M with the palm tree. That was, they were a Twins affiliate, I think, even back then. So that's such a classic one. And that was one of the first minor league logos that I really loved, was the Fort Myers Miracle.
Nice.
So as much as I love the Mighty Muscles concept, I think it's cool. I love the colors. They're fun logos. That's still such an iconic one to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting rid of the Chattanooga Lookouts or the.
Oh, you cannot do that, right?
Yeah,
oh, absolutely
that's
not.
like there's certain teams that you're just like, the Toledo Mud Hens. It's like that.
That's iconic.
It's iconic. You can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
And so as much as I love and appreciate the new ones, sometimes even the Beloit Snappers a little bit to me is sad, because it's, Beloit has had that for such a long time.
And the names that came out with at first, remember that whole new list of names that they tried? Oh my God, what a disaster. And now,
first of all, there's already a Moo. Fremont already has that one on lock. As much as, there wasn't much to choose from in that, but the Polka Pike was kind of the one that I was like, at least that's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the Sky Carp didn't do a lot for me. The Supper Clubbers didn't do a whole lot for me. Like I said, the Moo's already taken.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, honestly, shout out to the guy that does the River Rockers. I thought that was kind of a cool concept.
Absolutely.
And at least that has a local story.
Exactly.
So,
I agree.
And so I don't know what's going to come of that, but if you're stuck with the ones that you have, I almost would rather, as zany as it is, go with Polka Pike. At least it's kind of I can think of a lot of cool colors and designs you can at least do with that.
That's right.
But the other ones were kind of, I don't know, just kind of.
Another one that I wish I could find a dad hat for is the bear for the Asheville Tourist.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been looking for that one. So I'm gonna have to start looking on eBay and places like that because
Yep.
I cannot find it anywhere.
So a couple years ago, Lids did a couple, like the 100-year anniversary, like fit hats. And so I grabbed one with that logo back then.
Oh,
and,
such a cool one.
Yeah, because I think his name was Ted E. Bear.
Yep.
I think is what it was the mascot at the time for Mr. Moon. And I mean, it's that to me was a classic one too, before they rebranded his.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, and I think I was telling you earlier today when we interacted that, for me, the Daytona Cubs is one. And,
I started looking for Daytona Cubs when we were talking about that. I actually looked up and then I was like, oh, I see a couple of cool ones. I mean, on eBay for Daytona Cubs, but of course, no Daytona Cubs. I did find one, but it was sold out. Somebody already had bought it. I'm like, oh no.
Well, I have the first ever version of the Daytona Cubs, like the red and like the royal blue and red, and then with the old timey looking bear with the backwards hat. I have one of those, but I don't have that. Dan Simon's the one that did that logo, and it was only around for a couple years when they rebranded. It was kind of a refresh. I even reached out to him to ask were there any, and at the time he told me he didn't even have one. So it was, which is amazing to me that he was the designer and he wasn't even given one. So, but anyways,
that doesn't make any sense,
right?
It
exactly. But or that he doesn't have it, or whatever the case may be. But up until recently, it was the swing of the Quad Cities. But I got lucky, and someone on eBay had two new ones, and I was able to get those. I paid a little bit over the odds for them, but I was not going to miss the opportunity to grab them. So
I'm with you there.
I paid over the odds, and admittedly, probably paid too much, but I just had to grab it. And it's like I said, it's just there's certain teams that I kind of have, earmarked, or like old logos that I have earmarked that it's just fun to try to search for them. And maybe it will be 10 years from now. I don't know, but if I can ever find them, that would be great. So.
I know I know the answer already, but I'm going to ask for, everybody know, how many hats do you have?
Ed, I honestly don't even know. But I'll give you because I do collect mainly 5950s, but I also have some dad hats. Nice. I also have snapbacks. I also have some flex fit, some even some other relaxed fit hats. If there's a logo that I like enough, I will get whatever version of the hat just to have the logo, honestly. Right. So there are some logos that only are on dad hats or of the like. And so I've gotten those. Traverse City Pit Spitters is a good example.
Oh, I love that logo.
Oh man. Well, so they have the two cherries, right?
Yep.
But that are spitting out the pits, or spitting out the baseball rather. But there's one that has like the glove with the cherry in it, and they released a 47 hat of that, and I grabbed that before it was going to be sold out because I was like, that is such a cool looking logo.
Yeah,
so I just had to grab it. But
I have the Navy one.
Yeah, the Navy. Yes. Oh man, I'd probably have 1,000. I'd say.
My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I would probably feel safe in saying that.
Yeah. Wow. Hardy, the head guy, has 1,200, north of 1,200. Yeah. You guys are killing the game when it comes to collecting the hats, man.
Well, and I mean, I do have Major League Baseball hats and NFL and soccer and some other things, but 95% of them are probably at this point are probably minor league or collegiate summer league or independent professional.
Nice. Have you
Because
thought
I
about
went from-
doing, have you thought about doing some like displaying them, or, you know, even showcasing them on Twitter, Instagram, or something along those lines?
I've thought about showcasing them on Twitter. I live in an apartment, so I don't exactly have the room to like showcase them on the walls. And I'm a little funny about tacking things on a wall and on a place I don't own.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, so I don't want to have to spackle till the cows come home. So I don't know. So what I do is Hat Club sells like these cases.
Mhm.
They'll hold 30 hats a piece. So I'll buy those to stack them, and they're kind of like duffel bags.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so there's dust-proof duffel bags. So I'll buy those and store them, and probably spend good, a decent amount of money just on those to kind of to protect them. And
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's an investment.
It is.
You spent enough money already as it is. So,
Yep.
you don't want them to go bad.
No. And mainly that's for the 5950 hats. The dad hats, the great thing about those is that you
That's
can
right,
crush
my
those
friend.
and they're easily storable. And that's why you're smart for getting into the dad hats, because they look great, but also they're easily packable. The thing about those structured hats is that you've got to do it in a certain way. You either got to display them, or you've got to, if you don't want them to be crushed, you have to put them in cases.
In a case,
Oh,
that's right. Because once
so-
it's bent, that's it,
I mean, I've done videos learning how to like heat the buckram inside to kind of get out some of the stain,
Mhm.
get some of the folds and everything else. But that is not a perfect science. And if you get the heat too hot, then you risk it
Yeah.
hurting the structure
Yeah,
altogether.
the integrity of the
So-
hat. Exactly.
Yeah. So you've got to do it for just a short time and get it right. And I'm better at doing it, but I've certainly not mastered the art. And thank goodness for a hat jack.
Yeah.
Because the good thing about the dad hats is they're adjustable, but
Mhm.
I wear like a size 7.5 or between 7.5 and 7 5/8. But the problem is you can order 5 hats. They're all going to fit differently.
Differently. Exactly.
Some fit deep, some are shallow, some are tight, some are way too loose. And it's frustrating, but they're hand stitched. So that's
Yeah.
what you're going to get. But even a machine isn't perfect.
Correct.
So, and the rims sometimes look weird on the side. They'll flip up a little bit. And I look at
Mhm.
all these little details and I try to drive myself nuts looking at it saying, is this perfect enough? But I'm like, look, I could keep ordering till the cows come home. And if
And it's all going to be different.
it's all going to be different. And there may be something else on the next hat I don't like. So either I just live with it or
Yeah.
You just-
I'm with you.
go without it.
Yeah. I used to listen, a lot of people think that I only just collect, that hats, which is not the case. I have a couple of snapbacks. I have some 5950s, and I remember going into lids and, trying every single one because I need to make sure that the one that I have fit me perfectly, because if it not, I would not be happy about it,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that did that, because I did the exact same
Oh
thing.
yeah, absolutely.
Before buying online was an option, and all I could do was go to a lids or something of that same nature.
Hmm.
That's exactly what I would do. I would go through the entire, because when I was little, I was kind of a 7 3/8, but as I got older, I guess my head got bigger, and and I liked like a looser fit. I don't really like a really tight fit. I don't like it so tight that it leaves the marks on your head if I can help it. But if the logo is cool enough, I'll deal with it. But it's
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
but I would go through the entire thing and I would look at every single size. And I guess that's my type A personality coming out. But it was something that I would always do. But I would always think of it. I was spending whatever amount of money it would be. I've got to be happy with it.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely
So-
right, my friend. You're absolutely
So
right.
you want to be able to enjoy it without saying, well, if I did it this way, I could have done it this way. I'm grateful that I have the ability to even buy hats. I should even be grateful. So that I get to even entertain this, because some people aren't able to.
No, you know what? You're right. And I'm very lucky that one, I'm able to do this, right? Purchase it and spend money. I'm also
Sure.
very lucky that my wife allows me to do something like this.
Yeah. Oh man, I always like, my parents know I collect, but sometimes I wonder, do they know how many I have? And it's like,
It's
so when
probably
they come
best
up
if
with,
they
like,
don't know.
yeah. Well, they probably have an idea, but they probably don't know just how many, but that, it's something I like doing. I don't do it to the point where I can't, obviously take care of the really important things.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, I do have obviously quite the collection, and
Good for
it's
you. Good for
well,
you.
it's just something I enjoy, and it's like we've said before, it's about supporting. Really, the minor league part's my favorite part, because pro teams can deal without my money. The minor league team,
I have not bought a pro team hat in such a long time, to be honest with you. I have my issues with Major League Baseball overall,
Yep.
right? So I've decided that my money was going to go to a minor league team, whether it's an affiliated team, unaffiliated, collegiate wood bat league, whatever it is, right? I'm going to spend my money the way I want to, just because. And then this goes to, the whole minor league, thing is they are better at interacting with their fans
absolutely,
than Major League. Simple as that.
absolutely, no, 100%. And some of your previous guests I know have already talked about this, but that's another motivating factor for me, is those teams that are really, really good on their social media, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, whatever it might be, like your Daytona Tortugas, your Idaho Falls Chuckers, to the Gwinnett Strikers have a good one. Rocky City Trash Pandas have a good one. Myrtle Beach Pelicans have a good one. Shout out to Hunter Hornstein. He's just excellent with he and his staff with what they do. And it's those teams, Amarillo Sod Poodles. It's those teams that interact and want to. Akron Rubber Ducks are another good one.
They're really good. I really do enjoy them. Shout out to them because they follow me, so I appreciate that, guys.
Oh, look at that! Look at you, big time.
Listen, I'm trying to get as many minor league teams to follow me as possible. That's my goal.
Yeah, one day I want to be MILB promos, where like literally every team is following me. But obviously my account is pretty small, but it's to get to interact with you, with all the guys that people who listen to this podcast are going to know. It's a real privilege to kind of get to interact with other people that love,
and that's the whole point,
that love this like we do. And it's nice to have someone understand why you do it, and who can empathize with why you do with why you got into it, and why it's important to you. Because not everyone, and that's fine. Not everyone has to, to each their own, but to have a community that understands, like, yeah, it's important to me. And it really is. This is not just a story for you. I mean, it's just it's truly how I feel. Yes. Have I spent an inordinate amount of money on hats? Yes, I have.
Yes,
but at the same time, I do in my heart feel like there's a reason why I do it. And it's not necessarily, I don't want to call it charitable, because I don't want to undermine charitable contributions, but it's a way of showing support for people and their families.
At the end of the day, it needs to make you happy, right? Because it makes you happy when you the day. Listen, I think of it as Christmas every time I get a box.
Absolutely,
I absolutely love it.
There's a reason why I've gotten so into the practice that I write notes on my orders to tell people, please ship in a box, because I know you and I have discussed this before. Teams that send a hat in soft packaging, I'm like, what are you doing? Why in the world are you sending through a transit service, whatever it might be? Especially
a 5950, a structured hat, right?
Yeah. Or even something that's made by the game or by Puka, or anything that's a structured hat that has a shape. Why are you going to send it, in a soft bag?
I agree.
And with the way my mailing works, I have a mail slot. So if someone thinks that it's soft packaging, they try to stuff it in the mail slot.
Correct.
And it comes out and it's warped, and I have to call a team and say, look, this is what I ended up getting. I'm like, this doesn't look like this isn't what it's supposed to look like.
Nothing to do with
but then I get funny notes from the minor league teams who are like, why are you asking us to ship it in a box? Like, it should be automatic. And I said, if you only knew my stories. There's a method to why I'm asking this.
I am so sorry to tell you this. I apologize. I had an experience not too long ago that happened to me. They sent that out in a bag, and the description said it was an unstructured, because it's a dad hat, but it was an actual structured hat, and it came all bent and everything. So I didn't say anything about it. Yeah, I'm not gonna name teams.
No, won't name teams.
At the end of the day, they need all the support, but I was like, I was definitely not happy about it.
No, and sometimes I've learned to practice with some teams. You have to email them after you order them, to say, if they don't give you the option of putting in comments, can you please ship it in a box? Here's my order number. And it's kind of a practice. Like some teams you've learned you don't have to do that, but if you've ordered from them a couple of times and you know who does it and who doesn't, then sometimes you had to send them a special message, because sometimes the message doesn't get from the person who you give it to ultimately the person who ships it. So, but there's a reason why you do it, because if you have those experiences, but I try not to get too mad, because I understand sometimes these are small operations.
Yep.
And I mean, shoot, a big company can mess it up just as much as
a little one.
A little one. So if anyone deserves my patience, it's definitely the small teams. And
correct.
Because they're trying to make a living, they're trying to,
right.
They've got other things they're doing other than shipping merch, and they're trying to market to businesses to get sponsorships and get people to buy season tickets. And when I'm at my best, I try to make sure that you have to put yourself in their shoes.
Correct.
And know where they are. And so when I'm at my best and actually trying to learn to be patient, then that's when you realize, at least I'm able to get a hat.
Right.
And like you said, it's Christmas when you get a package in the mail, or
right,
you get 5. Just, whatever the case may be.
Right, exactly.
So, but it's just so fun, man. It really, really is.
It is.
And like, shout out to everyone that's, that does it, that supports local teams, whether it's minor league or collegiate summer league or independent professional. If you go out and support your local team, kudos to all of you, because that's, at the end of the day, being at the ballpark is really what it's about, because that's where you can really show that support, because you're there, you have you're there in the seats, you're buying a concession, you're buying,
correct.
You're taking your family for a night out, and you're connecting with the family. You can put the phones away. You can just enjoy America's pastime and share it with other people. And that's a beauty of like Americana to me at its finest, is actually getting to do something like that. And it's just
my friend.
It's a pure gift that we don't really get to have a lot now with, phones and social media and everything else. That's a true connection that you get to have, going to have that live
put it away and enjoy the game.
Absolutely.
Or enjoying the entertainment, because
absolutely. Or if you don't enjoy the game, enjoy the beer that you go and have, or the cocktail, or
local beer there, right?
Local beer. Yes. Local beer. No Bud Light for me. No disrespect, but just no Bud Light for me. It needs to be a local brewery, because it comes down to the community thing.
That's right, my friend.
Like, what is it? Like, who are the small businesses that are there trying to make a living for their own families?
Correct.
How can you sample local culture?
That's right.
Because it's different in Ohio than it is in California. It's different in Indiana than it is in Georgia, in Florida. I mean, they're all little laboratories of like culture to me, because everything has something that makes it tick. And that's the beauty of traveling. Even, I love traveling and going abroad, but also I learned to appreciate traveling to a different state in my own country is so cool, because there's something
small town USA. That's right.
Small town USA. And the Midwest is going to have some magic that you're not going to find anywhere else. In Ohio, you're going to have things that you cannot find anywhere else in the country.
Correct.
There's something that makes it Ohio. There's something in Georgia that makes it Georgia. There's something, in
any other states,
in California. Yeah. In any of the 50 states you go to, there's something different that makes it special.
You're right. So before we go into our famous, not so famous questions, any plans for you for 2022 as far as baseball trips? I know you talked about it a little bit, but any teams that you want to hit that year, anything like that?
Yes. So I don't have like a firm plan yet, because like you, I kind of want to plan over the winter to kind of what I want to do. I'd love to go on one of those epic Eric the Peanut Guy type trips, or something along those lines, or that some of your other guests have done. And like, was it Kelly and Christina? Did I get that right?
Yep. You did.
Kelly and Christina have done their own trips, and so many of your guests that have done. Next year, I've got Rocket City Trash Pandas on my list. I've not really planned out the route on how I'm going to do it, but I'd love to maybe start out small in the Southeast. Maybe hit
absolutely.
So the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the Kannapolis Cannonballers, the Tennessee Smokies.
Mm-hmm. You got some good ones there.
Yeah, and so the teams that are in that area, and I've done like I've even done door to door what the mileage would be, and I've done kind of that planning with some of the local teams to start. Chattanooga Lookouts, Asheville Tourists. So I realized there's even teams in my local area that I'm within a couple hours from that I haven't even hit. So let me start local and support some of my teams in the Southeast. And maybe in years in the future, maybe I'll look at doing a Texas leg.
Oh man, Texas will take you a long time because there's a
it
lot
will.
of teams there.
And that's the thing. I don't appreciate how far some of these places are from each other. But like, I mean, my first one would want to be going to Amarillo to go see the Sod Poodles, but obviously there's a long drive from there to like your likes of Frisco and Corpus Christi, and I mean these are all in different parts of the state, right? So
yeah,
I've got to plan a little bit better, and planning is not sometimes always my forte. So
I think there's this website called Baseball Mapper.
Yes,
definitely should visit it. Shout out to you guys.
I think I've interacted with them before, and they're phenomenal.
They're
Shout
cool
out
people.
to them.
Yeah.
But I need to get some input from them about what's going to make a lot of sense logistically about what you could do.
Correct.
And they are what they have done is just incredible.
Absolutely.
And so yes, to answer your question, yes, I'm looking at the Southeastern United States to start with, and mainly like Georgia, North and South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, right in kind of that cluster, because I know I know the drivable distances that I can do in my car. And then from there, I may get a little bit more ambitious, but I want to try to start out with something manageable and achievable.
I like it. Get in the car and go for it.
Yep. And then that way I don't have to worry about flight costs and everything else.
That's smart.
Yeah. So I can plan out. I mean, I'd love to do that, but let's start out with these and see
how it goes.
We can build from there. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
great teams in this area. So why not give them some support first?
I love it. Love it. All right. So here we go. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. You go to the ballpark. What's your snack or food of choice?
It's got to be the hot dog and a soda.
My man. I love it. Okay.
And if they have it, a local beer.
I like that. So there's a couple of questions right off of that answer right there. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes or no?
No.
Good job. You said soda, Coke or Pepsi?
I'm a Georgia boy. It's got to be Coke.
There you go. That's right.
Hey, Coca-Cola headquarters is in Atlanta, so I gotta go with Coke.
You cannot go wrong with that. I like it. Okay, beach or mountain?
Beach.
All right. Okay. Theme park or water park?
Theme park.
Okay. So, what is the weirdest food item or strangest food item that you've eaten?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Like a food combination or just food in general?
Just food in general.
I'd probably say going to a crawfish boil.
Nice.
And they say I think the people that have the crawfish boils say something like suck them heads.
Yeah.
So I've actually done that because I was like,
oh man.
Yeah, I was like, well, when in Rome.
Yeah, so, go for it.
I mean, it was here in Georgia that they had the crawfish boil, but I was still like, you know what? I was having it with people that it was with whom it was a tradition, and I was like, let me respect the tradition and let's just go for it. Why not?
Love it. Love it. What is the dumbest way that you have gotten injured?
Man.
So for me, you know, I got injured by standing up from the toilet. I literally, no joke, got up and hurt my back. I had to go to the chiropractor for 3 days.
Oh wow. Well, so, I'm lucky in the sense that knock on wood, and
right.
knock on wood, I've never had a broken bone.
No,
I've never had a broken bone. But I would say probably the weirdest way I got injured was when I was playing soccer in high school. I went to go kick the ball. I got my cleats stuck in the grass, and my knee snapped forward, so I hyperextended my knee and ended up partially tearing my calf muscle.
So, oh my God.
So I had to go to physical therapy for a few days, and I didn't know until the next day when I couldn't put on my sock that my calf had blown up, and
Oh no.
so I was like, yeah, there's something wrong, and I knew it was tight, but I didn't really know what. And then I went to the physical therapist, and they're like, yep, you partially tore this calf muscle. So
No.
so luckily I was able to. That's as bad as it's gotten, and I didn't like do any ligament damage to my knee or anything. But it was just me being a klutz and getting my foot stuck in the ground when I went to kick the ball, and I
It
just fell
happens.
forward. So that would probably be my best answer.
That's a good one. I mean, oof, that's rough. Well, favorite sports movie?
Oh man, it's probably it's got to be Major League.
Great movie. Great
I
movie.
love Major League. And that's a shout out to you too, because I was your Cleveland Indians.
I am.
Sorry, your Cleveland Guardians. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Well, yes, the Guardians, exactly.
Well, I can still call it Indians for right now, right?
Well, yeah, they're still the Indians until the end of the season and
Let's-
until 2022. So there you
Well,
go.
then I'm going to be a purist. Let's go with Indians.
So here's the thing. It's funny you say that because on their scheduled release, right?
Yep.
They put Cleveland Guardians on the new
Wow.
schedule for 2022. It says Cleveland Guardians. It doesn't say Cleveland Indians anymore. So they went forward with the whole thing. So good for them.
I hope they redesign the logo before instead of the one that they had, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
whole different kind of.
I don't need to open that can of worms.
That's
right
a whole episode right there on
Yeah, it
itself.
is. It is.
Okay, a couple more questions here.
Yep.
Pizza. Let's talk about pizza here. Deep dish or New York style?
For me, it's New York style.
Good man. That's a good answer. Good answer.
Listen, I can eat Chicago style, but for me, it's I love the New York style.
Love it. All right. So here's the last one.
Okay.
What is your spirit animal?
Such a good question.
Oh, see, here's the thing. I had to change up the questions because people were preparing ahead of time when they were about to come on. So I had to change it up on people.
Oh, you got me because I was preparing with some of the previous episodes. I won't even lie to you. So spirit animal. Oh man. I would say a lion.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
And I'll tell you why. I would say it's because of I like the King of the Jungle type thing, but it's not necessarily that mindset. It's that fighting mindset of, each day is a challenge and getting up every day. In this era of mental health that we have, and I know that's a loaded topic, but but just I believe in waking up each day and being grateful for having that day, because some people, the ability that I get to get up and walk, and it's just to fight through that day.
Do the little things that not a lot of people can do.
Exactly. Like something as simple as going up to go to the refrigerator to get something to eat or something to drink, walking without pain. It's those little tiny things that we take for granted every single day. I do. Yep. I'm not saying that as someone who, that is better than everyone else and doesn't do that. I do that every single day. Yep. And I take it for granted. I take for granted that I have a job sometimes, but it's just those little things that, yes, it may be tough to get up sometimes for work or to do something, but I have the ability to get up. I have the ability to be given another day. And I need to live that day intentionally instead of just, trying to make it through the day. And it's, and it's about being positive. It's about building people up, not tearing people down. It's about,
I love it.
Yeah. That's to me what it's about. It's about appreciating the people around you. Like I've said this before, our hat community, man, you guys make my day without even realizing it. Like you and your daughter spinning your wheel, pick a hat, makes me smile every single time you do it. And that's,
I appreciate it.
And what a special little girl you have there, first of all. And the fact that she does that with you, and it's a bonding moment for the two of you, that you share that's a beautiful thing. And it's little things like that where you're like, all the stuff you hear about in the world, the negative stuff, little things like that you get to see. That's what I want to see.
There's too much negativity in the world, and I'm trying to load my Instagram and my Twitter with nothing but positive things, because at the end of the day, there's enough garbage out there that we just don't need.
Well, and I told you earlier, and I'm sorry I got so far off your question, but I think getting back to it, the lion is just, it's a fighter. It's a,
Yeah.
and
you
it's
definitely
a
fight
hunter.
getting those
And
hats,
it's
though.
and it's a hunter. But what'd you say? I'm sorry.
And you're a fighter getting those hats, though. You hunt,
Yes,
you go out there.
It is. Yes. And so there's that. There's hunting to find that hat that you need. There's that or that you think you need. And then there's just the fighting, the fighting to find the good in each day.
Yep. I love it.
And so it's that type of concept of fighting to fight through all the negativity and hunt for the good things that, happen, hunt for that positive mindset, and appreciating the people around you. Like I said, our community that we have in the hat Twitter, hat community in general.
Yeah.
The people from all different walks of life that create that community.
I love
people
it.
got into it for different reasons. It's, Mike Gotsis would have gotten into it for a different reason than George Falkowski would have gotten into it.
You're right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. Ed got into it for a different reason than Eric the Peanut Guy did. And it's
and at the end of the day, we all connect and we're friends with each other.
So it's just incredible. And,
you're right, my friend.
And it's just appreciating that you can interact with people that have the same interest as you. You don't live in the same place. You maybe didn't grow up in the same way, but you somehow all found that common parallel for the love of minor league baseball, the love of hats, the love of sports in general, and how it's a way to escape sometimes from how hard life can be, because life is hard. It's a challenge every day for everybody. Social media doesn't show you what someone's going through. It's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of what we want to see.
You're absolutely right.
And people go through real challenges. And that's why I admire people who fight through that and live another day. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And I admire, those are heroes to me, are the people that do that and fight every single day to do that. And yes, we have our frontline heroes. We have our people that fight for our country. Those people are heroes as well. I don't mean to.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, you're right.
But also your everyday heroes too, that fight, who have loved ones that have a sickness, or have other reasons that they have to fight difficulties. They fight their own sickness. It's a beautiful thing that we have people in this world. And that's why I think you need to be positive. And I admire you for what you do for that. Motivational quotes and motivational pictures, is that you're finding the good. You're interacting and building conversation with people. Because I think we've also lost the art of conversation. We're stuck in our phones and we're sending text messages, and we've lost the art of conversation of, being stuck in our phones and looking at whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And this is a great medium just to have an actual conversation, even if it's virtually, with someone, to learn where someone came to be. And I thank you for letting me be a part of your world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
Allowing
dude, you kidding me? This was fun. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We got to know you, right? Yeah. And now, the number of people that listen to the podcast are getting to know you as well. And that's the beauty of it, man. That's it. It's as simple as that. There's no meaning, behind it, or sort of like, right. No. It's just it's as simple as getting to know people. And that's what I'm all about.
And that's why I admire you. That's why I admire Eric the Peanut Guy. That's why I admire George Falkowski, Mike Gotsis. Every single one of your guests I admire for those kind of reasons. Mm-hmm. And I have no doubt your future guests that you'll have, I will admire for the same reason. And so, because if it's someone that you've probably connected with, I already kind of know that's someone I'm going to like.
There you go. I love it.
So a stranger for me is kind of a friend you haven't met yet.
There you go.
And so it's, and that's not for everybody. That's obviously not, everyone's different, and that's cool. That's not
right. Yeah, no, right.
Cup of tea, but it's, by the way, just to show you are prepared, you and I have something in common. I don't like coffee either.
No way.
No coffee. I like the smell, like you. I like the smell, but I do not like coffee.
See, there you go. See,
yep.
One more thing in common, my friend.
Well, like I said, I was just sitting there enjoying listening to hear you talk about what you would say, and I'm like, my man. Like I said, I'm glad I'm not the only other person in the world that doesn't drink coffee. So
I do not.
And so, like I said, I'm a tea kind of a guy. Of course, I'm that Southern guy that likes like sweet iced tea, and that's not that for a lot of people. That's like, what? Unless you're from like Texas or Georgia or somewhere down here. It's like,
sweet tea.
What
she
is that
loves
stuff?
Her sweet tea, my wife. So I'm with you there. Yeah.
Well, it's but yeah, I'm a tea person over coffee. So since you didn't ask that question, I was like, I got to interject that in some way.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, my man. This was a lot of fun. Where can people find you on social media?
So for the hat community, I have a Twitter it's at Pat Larson 1. That's PATLARSON and the number 1. I also do, like, my favorite soccer team is Chelsea, so I also have a Twitter page for that. It's that's at, so if you're into like soccer of any sort and you like English soccer maybe, or English football as I call it, that's at PTP_COYB. And really hit me up on any of those. I just love, meeting new people and chatting and really getting to know the people behind the accounts.
There you go.
That's what I love about this is so, but for the purpose of your listeners, it's probably going to be more at Pat Larson 1. And that's where I talk about hats. And I am going to start posting probably a hat of the day to kind of go with what Kelly.
Love it. Yes, do it. You got
so
1,000 of those. I want to see them all.
I've got to start. And, maybe in your honor tomorrow, maybe I should just start with the dad hat. Why not?
Love it. I love it.
I
want to see that.
I'll tag you in it and say, in honor of Ed. Let's start,
I like it.
Let's start with the dad hat.
Love it.
So let's do this thing.
Love it. All right, my friend. Well, hey, again, thank you so much. And then we'll keep interacting on social media, my friend.
Sounds good, my man.
Take care.
All right.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Patrick Larson. He's a good dude with a very positive outlook on life. So his Twitter handle is Pat Larson1. Again, that is Pat Larson1. Make sure you guys are following him, okay? Before I go, a couple things. One, make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast so that way you guys are always in the know when something is happening and when a new episode drops. Make sure you guys are also telling another person, okay? So that way they can enjoy it. Last thing, on the next episode, I have a big guest, okay? It is Austin Scher. He is the GM of the Danville Otterbots, okay? So make sure that you guys are, again, subscribed so that way you guys don't miss that interview, okay? All right, guys, until then, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean. And I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
This is Patrick
and Corey
of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball. So get on the site and find a team near you today.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.